Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got an unbalanced rack. Through an I would have symbiont, but I'm not seeing any other bingos. I think the rack is probably too good to change, and these high-scoring tiles do have some synergy. I could play Moby, for example. And opponent changes, so I think I will. Just wondering if there's a 5-letter play, which would get one of these high-scoring tiles doubled, but I don't think there is. Moby for 22. Fantastic. I have in darts. Nowhere for that at the moment. Moby doesn't take any hooks. Do I have any 8s through the floaters on the board? Not seeing anything with the M, but there could be something there. How about the O? Very high probability. Intrados. How about the B? Again, there may be something there, but it's not coming immediately to mind. How about the Y? No, not seeing anything there. Well, hopefully something will play. What if all my bingos are blocked? Well, this is one of these racks which is so good that it would be painful to play anything away from it. Certainly a play of just the D would leave an excellent 6-letter set of trains. The only downside to this rack is the absence of an E. I'm looking again at the M, in case I have a bingo through that. But it's not come to mind so far. So at the moment it's just Intrados that I have. And I don't think that that has any anagrams. Opponent taking a while with this play. I notice it says change 5. I'm not sure whether that actually means he changed 5 tiles. So, Intrados remains available, which is great. Opponent has not provided anywhere for in darts. Opponent has provided an E, so possibly there could be a play running over the top of Moby. So this rack plus an E, detrains, strained, randiest, and that's all that's coming to mind. So I think I'll get Intrados down, and I'm grateful to have a bingo here. For 60 points. Horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Really, really grim. Gore Crow through an R. This R not quite in the right spot. And none of my vowels go after the F, so this is really disappointing. Now, I actually have outgrow, which would be quite nice. That would really sort the rack out, getting rid of G, U, W and splitting up the duplicate O. Will that remain available? And supposing it doesn't, really tempting to change with this rack. But certainly outgrow a lot better than changing. And I think outcrow is also good. The C is a more bingo-y tile than the G, but outcrow scores 2 more points. I think outcrow takes a D and an S. and outgrow an N and an S, but I may be wrong about some of those. Now, opponent changed and then played just 2 tiles for 17 points, which suggests he could be sitting on a very bingo-y rack. However, no 7-letter lanes for bingos ending in S, unless it overlaps FE. But some pretty useful floaters on the board with INTR and S. Now, do I have something through this M? And I'm really looking for a play which uses up at least 2 of G, O and W. Well, nice bingo by opponent. And he does block my outgrow spot. So, do I need to be changing? I trail by 10. And there's a really hot spot in row A. And if I change, opponent could get 50 or 60 points in that spot and I could be in big trouble. Wow, through an A I would have cougar, but that doesn't quite fit. And I'm not seeing anything through this O. I am changing. This is a horrendous rack. And the only half decent play I saw was outgrow and outcrow. Close to Currawong. I do have crown, keeping GOU. 14 points, keeping GOU. Well, I don't think GOU is worth minus 14. But it's still a pretty ropey rack leave. I'm going to change. And I will keep C and R. Okay, well, a ton of vowels, which is why you keep consonants. And no E's. Do I have anything with the floating consonants on the board? Well, I have clarion, but that's not a bingo. I would have conarial through the N, but that's in the wrong spot. Does conarial have an anagram? Don't think so. How about a play? Yeah, well, that could have been worse. 36 points for opponent. Do I have a bingo with the M? Well, that looks like it goes quite nicely with this rack. And it doesn't have to begin with the M. But I'm not seeing a bingo. Now, what about the T? I'm just wondering if it's coat rail. I may be confusing that with coat tail. Not seeing anything through that. There's also the TR combination. Not seeing anything. How about the S? No, not seeing anything with that. I think if there was a play with the S, it would probably be the plural of a 7, and I'm not seeing one. How about D and L? No, not seeing anything. So, what to do here? It's not a massively bingo-y rack, so I'm not reluctant to split it up. But I do trail, so I'd quite like to keep these bingo floaters available. How about a play through this S, getting value from the M and the B? So I could play Kaza. 18 points. This is a pretty grim rack leave, so I'd like to do better than that. If possible, retain one of the A's, I and O together, really vulnerable to duplication. I still feel there could be a bingo here. And I'm just wondering about this N. Does canarial have an anagram? I think it may do. But I'm not seeing it. I didn't particularly like the rack leave after Kaza, and the C closes down the bottom left of the board. So how about a play down through the M? Wow, only 10 points. I think that's too few and offers too much to my opponent. How about Loma 17? Decent score, creating a new bingo lane, only disrupting the R. Slightly concerned about the equal number of vowels and consonants. So I think I'll do that for 14. Great, I have article on my rack with a D, articled, laceted, possibly one other. Now look at this. Eta is good, so article plays in column 12. Now what are the anagrams of article? Well, certainly talcia, and that plays in column 6, so I am bingoing this turn. Let me return to column 15. I feel there could be one further anagram. Articled, laceted. Well, it's not leaping into my mind, but I think there is one there. Now, how about the N and the T as floaters? Well, clarinet is blocked. What about the T? Not seeing anything. Recital is the other anagram as a 7. So article, talcia and recital, that also plays in column 6. And it plays really nicely in column 12 because FER is good and no, ETE isn't. So 31 for opponent. He's provided a double lane with the W, but I don't have a bingo there. So talcia plays here for a bigger score. I think this is the best spot on the board. Talcia for 79. Not bad, slightly vowel heavy, but all bingo-y tiles apart from the U. So through, I was going to say through an I would have Eurydinia, but I would need one of my A's to be an I, so I don't have that. I'm not sure if Zowie takes an S at the end. I'm inclined to think that it doesn't. I lead by 16, which is pretty slender, especially with opponent on turn. But I do like this rack, and if it's not blocked, I'm inclined to play Lord to generate some new floaters and leave a rack leave of near, which is a pretty good 4-letter set. Wow, fantastic bingo by opponent. 74 points. And do I have anything with this rack? There are a lot of floaters on the board. Not seeing anything with the P. How about the T? No. So let me go back to what I was thinking about. Lord, only 15 points, but a really good rack leave, which goes well with the D of Lord and the T of Patience. And opponent's bingo has opened a new bingo lane in row N for 7-letter bingos. And column 6 remains available. I am going with this. Great, I have Oterine and Notaire. Neither plays in column 6, but Oterine plays in row N. Do I have a play beginning with D? And I do. I have D ration. I trail by 43 points, so D ration should bring me back into the game. Still one blank to come. There is a double lane, well, two double lanes available. Row D probably the most useful through T and R. Duplicates tiles on my rack. And I'm not seeing a bingo there. Great, just 26 for opponent. And I have D ration for 80. Great, I draw the X and I have some vowels to go with it. Are there any super hot X spots on the board? Well, I do at least have... Wow, another bingo by opponent, 86 points. That is brutal. And I may not come back from this one. Just 20 tiles to come, and they are not looking very bingo-y. Look at all these high-scoring tiles. But the board is quite open, so priority, I think, probably to play the X. Just 3 E's to come. And I mentioned that because I was thinking about playing in row N, creating an AX spot, but I'm not persuaded that that's best. Let me check the vowel situation. 11 out of 27, very vowel dry, and that means that I don't have to keep a consonant heavy rack leave. What I can do therefore is play text down here, and this is quite a nice 5-letter rack leave given that it's a vowel dry bag, and 30 points is quite decent. Am I missing something better? Well, possibly. That's 30. That's 43. I think the extra 13 points justify this play. Just 1 O to come for XO. It's going to be close because text, the A probably helped this rack leave, only 1 A to come. However, it's a lot more points. Now, am I overlooking an even better X spot? If I had an O, I would have Expo in column 14. Still 1 blank to come. And text, the X is not a useful floater, so leaving column 8 alone gives me the opportunity of playing down there to create a new bingo lane. So 9 minutes on my clock. Is Axe the play? I think it is. It's not taking out any bingo lanes. Great, I draw the final A, and the rest of the rack looks pretty good. Do I have a bingo? I have Permeant in column 4, onto the T of Patience. Do I have a play ending in N? I have the man and men prefix. Not seeing anything. How about a play through the C of Cloaking? Not seeing anything. I trail by 30. What about a play onto the R of Intrados? No, so at the moment all I'm seeing is Permeant. Peterman, its anagram, doesn't play. What else is there? Well, there's the L of Cloaking. Not seeing anything with that. If opponent's got the O, he may be drawn to row C, or he may take the view that that's not going to be any use to me. Wow, fantastic. Well, great score for opponent, but I'm saying fantastic because Permeant remains available for 76. Bang! And look at this, I draw the Q with the U. This game is not over. I trail by 4 points. Remaining tiles include a blank and 2 S's. And I do have the O for XO, so if I play off QU without the O, I may have a big row C play the following turn. But there are bingo lanes on this board, and the remaining tiles now looking slightly more bingo-y, with the Q and the V on my rack, and my opponents clear out with Y. So, 8 minutes on my clock. Where can I play my Q? And I note that there's an available U in column 14 as well. Not seeing anything through the T. I would have Guchin beginning with a G. Do I have something in row H? I don't. If I had an E, I would have Quern. Now, I note that I have a V for going after LA. At the moment, I don't have a VO something play, although I'm close. I do. I have Envoi, which keeps Q and U, and that may be worth doing first if I can't find a big Q play. So Envoi, 40 points. Wow, big score. Opponent taking a while makes me think that he could be about to bingo. But if he does, that's going to leave Envoi alone, and he'll be emptying the bag. So if I play Envoi, I'll be left with QUN. Is there anywhere to go out with that? Don't think so. I would have Chi and Chi. So I think opponent still has the whip hand, and I think a bingo would pretty much guarantee him the win. But just 4 points between us, so super tight game. Just looking at this eye of D-ration, but I don't have a play there. I'm surprised there's nowhere. Wow, opponent doesn't bingo, but he gets 58 points and he burns the blank. 3 tiles in the bag. He doesn't provide anywhere new for my Q. So I trail by 60. Not a good position to be in. What to do here? Envoi is a nice score, but QUN is pretty grim. Although I will be drawing 3 tiles, and there's a good chance one of them will be a vowel. And I certainly need to play off the V or the Q this turn. J takes nothing in front of it. Wow, I really am surprised that there's nowhere for my Q, except there is. And this may not be best. But I have sank for 35, which provides nothing for my opponent and has the advantage of burning the Q. It has the disadvantage of retaining UV. And I'll be having 7 tiles on my rack. 35 points would take me to 424. That is not a winning play. If only I could get it doubled. So this was the alternative I was thinking of for 40 points. This would empty the bag, as indeed would sank, so opponent would know what I had on my rack. If I draw an eye, I would have chi and chi, but I'd really be looking to go out in 1. Well, I'm not seeing how that could happen, but envoi for 40 points is a decent score. It's not too dissimilar to the sank score. Do I want this rack? Opponent played jorps. I must be drawing 1 vowel. What if I draw an E? How does that help me? Well, if I drew 2 E's, I'd have queen, but I wouldn't be emptying the bag and it would be a low score. I'm not happy with that play. Is there really nothing in row H? Quorn is not good. Q-U-O-R-N. I think it's a capital Q, otherwise that would have been the play. 5 minutes on my clock. If I play sank, then if I draw an I and there are 2 out there, then I would have envoi, and that is slightly disguised. I'm playing sank. Wow, I draw 2 E's. And this looks quite a nice rack, but opponent's rack also looks quite nice. I no longer have envoi, but I do have VOE. But I am only going to get 1 turn, and I trail by 27. So I think I would need a bingo to win, and all of the lovely bingo lanes have now vanished, apart from row O. And I don't have a bingo ending in N. What do I have in column 8 through this T? Nothing superior to though. So, have I considered what to do if opponent blocks though? And that may be why he's spending his time. I haven't identified a particularly good alternative play. And he does block it, which is good for him. So 1 minute on his clock and 5 on mine. And opponent's kept DIRU, so I'm assuming he's got an out in 2 spots. But I'm not seeing his out. Let me concentrate on my own play. I'm 40 points behind, so I'm not going to win this. So I have Neve down here for 23. Does that assist opponent? He's got an R for making never. He's got Rudy on his rack, but I don't think that has any anagrams. So that's 23. What about overs? 24. Can I do any better than that? I feel I ought to be able to. I certainly need to play off the V. What about votes? 27. Well, that certainly does give opponents an out of Rudy's, so I'm not going to do that. What about pluralizing sank? Do I have a play which burns the V? No, I don't think so. Wow, this is tricky. A nice play by opponent in blocking my V spot. 3 minutes on my clock. Ava is good. So I've got OV and EV in that spot. No, not seeing anything great there. AHS is good. Can't see a way of burning the V. Can't see a way of playing the V above OW. I have venue on my rack, not seeing anywhere for that. 2 minutes on my clock. So if I play Veers, I would have noun. Do I have a second out? I have unto, so yeah, I'm going with Veers for 24. And now we'll see where opponents can go out, because I think he probably has identified at least one, or maybe he was simply prioritising blocking my big V play, quite possible. So what's my best out if he hasn't? I have unto for 5, noun for 5. Anything better? Not seeing anything. Nouse for 4. Just wondering if there was a VU play through this R. It may have given me a little more flexibility. Okay, so opponent didn't have an out, just 12 points. 1 minute on my clock. I trail by 26 points. 28 points, and I get 2 on count back, so I need 26 to draw. That's not going to happen. KYU is good. So do I have any improvement on unto? No, I don't think so. And the final score, 455 for me, 476 for my opponent, a winning margin of 21 points. So well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. What a close game and a high-scoring one. Wide open board. So, opponent to go first, horrible rack. He changed. And this was my rack. And I could have played Monty for 28, keeping BS. And I played Moby for 6 fewer points, keeping SNT. So is SNT 6 points better than BS? Probably going to be fairly close, but Monty provides access to double word squares and more floaters, so I do prefer my play. But NST probably worth about plus 10 or 11. BS maybe plus 6 or 7. So those moves are pretty close based on just score and rack leave. Now opponent changed and drew the blank. And he has a bingo left over. Wow, a very difficult one to see. And I think I missed hangover in a previous game, so these over suffixes are tricky to spot, far easier to see them as a prefix. Anyway, opponent plays Fey, which is great because I have Intrados, but what was also available was in drafts through the F and Diatrons, the anagram of Intrados. Opponent does now bingo with Overlet, and I have this horror show. Vrow, B11. Yep, I think that's better than changing. It does stick a W in column 15, but I don't think that's massively dangerous. Opponent's rack plays Bogold. Now, I was waiting to see a bingo pop up there, and it didn't. So I played Oma for 14, B11 Viola. I think that would have been a much better play. Opponent's rack plays Zowie, and now I have a choice of bingos, including Reclinate through N and E. So I play Talkia for 79, and opponent has this rack and has a choice of bingos, and at this stage I trail by 60. I play Lord for 15, L4, so I could have played Adieu, running over the top of Patience for quite a few more points and a decent rack leave. But I think Lord is fine. It's only 11 fewer points and it retains the E, which definitely helps ANR, and it keeps the board open, which is really important since I trail. Opponent's rack plays Fog, and now I have D-Ration for 80, definitely helped by this E. Opponent's rack, and look at this, the perfect floater for what is otherwise a pretty grim rack of the N for cloaking. Now, the game isn't over. I trail by 75 points, but there's still a blank to come, still 20 tiles in the bag, and I have the X. Wow, K8, extra through the T. That would have been the play, 60 points. Instead, I play Axe for 17 fewer points and only a slightly better rack leave, so certainly extra would have been the play. Horrible rack for opponent, apart from the blank and the S. And this is where he plays Y. And I have Permeant for 76. And for a brief while, we are really close, just 4 points between us. But there are only 7 tiles in the bag. And opponent zooms away with Jorps. So now we have the critical moment. 2 tiles in the bag. What to do? And I thought about Envoi, emptying the bag. I played Sank. And I also considered Chi for 37. But look at that rack leave, NNOUV, pretty grim. Let's see if this is working yet. It's not. Okay, well, let me know in the comments below if you have firm views about any of these plays or any alternative plays for this move, because I don't know what's best. So I play Sank. Opponent plays High. And K8. Votes for 27. Well, that gives the opponent an out, so I didn't want to do that. Yeah, maybe some of these plays evens K13. Well, that also sticks an S in the open for opponent to go out with. Anyway, I think these are all losing plays. And opponent does have an out, K9. Through the S, he has Ursid, tricky one to spot. Doesn't play it, plays Dewey. And finally, Unto for 5 is best. So, what a game. Both of us over 450 points and just 20 odd points separating us at the end. So many thanks once again to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.